So let's start. Today we're going to see remittance of assets. Now, remittance of assets is nothing but you are sending money outside India. Now, if I have a property in India, if I have got, say, a house, or if I have some PF related, if I have any proceeds which all is accrued in India and I want to take it outside, so that's called remittance of assets. Now, first one, we're going to look at remittance by individuals not being NRI PIOs. So what are PIOs? What is PIO? Person of Indian origin. Yes, person of Indian origin. So you all know what are NRIs. So an PIO is person of Indian origin. Now, what is remittance of assets? Means sending money outside India. Just 1 second. Okay. So remittance of assets means sending money outside India. Now, what types of funds that are sent outside India is deposit with a bank, firm or company. Now, this is nothing but your FD, or if you've kept any term deposits, you have any money kept with any bank. So that is the type of fund that you can take money outside India. Then there is your PF balance or superannuation benefits. That's if you have been working in India and you are going to settle abroad, you need the money from your PF account, so you can withdraw it and take it back to foreign. Now, amount of claim or maturity of insurance policies. Now, insurance policy always it is as in what do you say? It is not a 1 year, 2 year kind of thing. So it's like a 25-year, 30-year kind of an insurance policy. So that time also you have the opportunity to take the money if there's an LIC or say any insurance policy and it matures, you can take the amount. And the other one is proceeds of shares, securities and immovable property. So if you're selling anything, that also can be taken outside India. Now, who is allowed remittance of assets is nothing but an authorized dealer. As I said, an authorized dealer, it's someone who's authorized by the RBI. So he's a person who facilitates money coming from foreign to India and vice versa. So an authorized dealer will allow only remittance of assets. Now, you might ask me how this authorized dealer is has that kind of power to send money and bring money. Now, the RBI is got the RBI is given instructions to these authorized dealers, say a set of documents, what is required, how they need to process it. So their list of work has been chalked out and they need to follow that. So whenever if they do not follow that, then the RBI can cancel their certification dealership also. So if it says you need to collect certain declaration, they have to collect it. RBI will do like an audit of these authorized dealers to check whether they are approving transfers correctly, whether they have all the documentations in place. So the authorized dealer may allow remittance of assets. The person, in case of the person has retired from employment in India, so you were working here and you've gone abroad, so things like your PF, your LIC, which can only be taken after 58, 60 years. So if you've retired from an employment and you've gone abroad, you can take the proceeds out of your insurance policy and your PF or superannuation. Now, the person has inherited from a person referred to under section 6.5 of the Act. Now, what is 6.5 of the Act is not mentioned in the textbook. So 6.5 is nothing but if a person is a resident in India in the previous year relevant to an assessment year in respect to any source of income, he shall be deemed to be a resident in India. So basically in the previous year you were a resident. So the previous year, it 6.5 only says if the current, 1 second, there is someone who is trying to join. Let me just 1 minute. Let me quickly. I've allowed people. So Okay, so what I was saying is, now if a person is a resident in India in the previous year, if the person is a resident, and the previous years, even if the person is not a resident, say was living abroad, only for the particular previous year he was a resident, that also in source of income, it shall be deemed to be, received by a resident in India, and that's why it can be transferred abroad. So basically the person doesn't have to stay in India for a long time. Previous year, wherever he had earned the income, if he is considered a resident, that time the source of income can be transferred. Now the person is a non-resident widower and has inherited assets from his or her deceased spouse who has an Indian national resident in India. What happens is, say if you are say you're living abroad, now you are an NRI abroad, and you still have an Indian nationality. I mean, you've not gone to your green card thing, but then you still are considered an Indian original person. Now your assets are back in India and you are abroad, and the person dies. So the husband dies. So the wife can inherit that property which is back in India. So this is what it means. So that person does not have to be a national, does not have to be an Indian national, even if it's a foreigner, and if your husband is Indian national at the time of death, you can still sell the property and take the money back to your foreign country. Manu Gowda, this is the first chapter. First chapter we are doing.
Ma'am, I have a doubt.
Yes.
So actually, what if the husband that died was an Indian resident in the previous year and is not considered an Indian resident as of now, and he has passed away now? So can the wife still does she have the right to take the money? Or
yes, so he was considered as an Indian national, right? It is not, we are not looking at point number 2, it will be point number 3. So at any given point of time, he was considered an Indian national.
Okay.
Even though he does not have income, even though if he does not have an income also, but still he was considered an Indian national. Okay, and then the fourth point, the remittance is in respect of balances held in the bank account by a foreign student who has completed his or her studies, provides such balance represents proceeds of remittance from abroad through normal banking channels. Now, you are a foreign student, you have come to India, you have opened your bank account in India, and you've done a little internship, or say you've earned a little bit of revenue in India, and you've opened it if you've kept it in your bank account. At the time of going back, you can also take it back with you. Now these facilities are not available for citizens in Nepal, Bhutan, or a PIO. Now, so the next thing is, so there are, okay, I'll come back to it in the next one. Remittance by NRI and PIOs. Now, who is an NRI? Who is an NRI?
A non-resident Indian.
Non-resident Indian means the person is of Indian origin who has an Indian passport and living abroad and not living in India. Now, PIOs, person resident outside India who is a citizen of any country other than Bangladesh, Pakistan, or other country, satisfying the following conditions. Now, there are 4 conditions. So, lives outside India and a citizen of any other country. Now, who was a citizen of India by virtue of the Constitution of India or the Citizenship Act? Second one, who belonged to a territory that became a part of India after 15th August 1947. Who is a child or grandchild or great-grandchild of a citizen of India or a person referred to A or B. Now, A or B is nothing but point number A and point number B. Who is a spouse of a foreign origin of a citizen of India or a spouse of foreign origin of a person referred to in A, B or C. Now all these three are considered as a PIO. Now these definitions will not come. This is just for your understanding. So you need to understand in case if any questions you need to know what a PIO is. So now ED may allow NRIs PIOs on submission of documentary evidence to remit up to USD 1 million per financial year. So an authorized dealer will allow NRIs and PIOs only upon documentary evidence to take up 1 million USD per financial year. Now, okay, now there are two accounts called NRO and NRE account. For a person, a foreign and NRI can open two. There are more accounts. There is FCNR account and all of that, but the two main accounts are NRE and NRO account. Now, an NRE account is for all proceeds you can transfer any foreign funds to an NRE account, and vice versa. From an NRE account, you can transfer it to your foreign bank account. But an NRO account, it is only opened to earn all the say if you've earned dividend in India, if you've sold any property in India, that money can go to your NRO account only. It cannot go to your NRE account because NRE account money only comes from your foreign bank account. NRO account is a savings bank that an NRI can open for whatever you've earned in India. Like many of them will have apartments and they get rents. Whatever rent is earned will only go to their NRO account. It cannot go to the NRE account. If you want to transfer from your NRO account to your NRE account and take it to your foreign country, you need to submit a set of documentations. Now the same thing is for dividends. Now companies give dividends to all the shareholders, even if they are a foreign citizen, NRIs, all of that. Now if you're an NRI, you will have to submit your NRO bank account details, and all your dividend will go to your NRO account. So that's the difference between an NRE and an NRO bank account. Now, again, 1 million USD is submission of documentary evidence out of the balances in their own resident NRO account, sale proceeds of assets acquired in India by way of inheritance or legacy. Now, what type of money that the bank's authorized dealer will allow is nothing but your any sale proceeds of assets. Say if you have a property in India, you have an apartment in India, and you want to take the sale proceeds up to 1 USD is your limit. Now, in respect of assets acquired under deed of settlement made by either of his parents or relative, the settlement should take effect after the death of settler. So usually if someone dies and as per their settlement deed, you are entitled for a portion. Now you can sell that portion and take the money back to the foreign country. In case settlement is done without retaining any life interest in the property during the lifetime of the owner, the parent amount, blah, 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 by way of gift, remittance, the sale proceeds of such property would be guided by the extent in, okay, it's a similar thing. Point number 2. Point number 3 is nothing but by a way of gift. If you have earned the property and you're selling it, you can take it back. Now, remittance, winding up of proceeds of branch and office. Now, what happens is, now you have closed a branch office and license office, all of that in India. So, when you are opening, you need to get permissions if you are a foreign country. Now, if I'm a foreign company and I open a branch office or a license office in India, now, and I want to close it. And when I'm closing the company, I sell off all the assets. I take all the money that has been earned to the parent company. For example, head office is in Dubai, branch office is in Bangalore. I close the Bangalore office. I need to transfer everything to the Dubai office. Now, what is required then is a copy of RBI's bank permission for establishing the branch office in India, auditor's certificate, indicating the manner in which the remittable amount has been arrived and supported by statement of assets and liabilities of the applicant and indicating the manner of disposal of assets. Now, when they talk about remittable amount has been arrived, how you have come with that. But now, if you've done your calculations, if it's 100 rupees that you're taking back to Dubai, how that 100 rupees has come. You need to submit your statement of assets, you need to submit your liabilities, and how you are planning to dispose it. Now, if there are fixed assets like machinery, like building, now you can't carry that to Dubai. You will have to sell it off and then take the money to Dubai. So, how you plan to dispose of the assets, that plan also has to be given to RBI. So, the auditor certificate will certify, confirm all of this. Now, all the liabilities in India, including arrears of gratuity, benefits to employees, all of them have been property met. Now, again, you have your gratuity, which has to be paid to employees. You have your PF, insurance, all that will have to be paid from time to time. Whether everything has been paid up to date, only then you can transfer the money back to the foreign country. Confirming that no income accruing from sources outside India has remained repatriated to India. So basically, if you've exported anything, and so here it only means is say you have sold something to a foreign country. Now, me being in India in Bangalore, I have sold say a set of clothes to somebody in Hong Kong. Now, I need to get money from Hong Kong. So if it's still unpaid, if it is still unpaid, that has to come, because that's when the entire set of income has been closed. So whatever money you have to receive, you should receive through exports, because what exports is something, it's going out from India. So the money has to come back to India. So that's what they will confirm. The auditors will confirm. And the other thing is confirming that the branch office has complied all regulatory requirements stipulated by RBI from time to time. Now, all these four will be confirmed by an auditor's certificate. Third one, a confirmation from the applicant that no legal proceedings are pending from any court in India, no legal impediment to the remittance. So there is no legal issue. If they move off, if they close their office in India and go off abroad, there won't be any legal issue. There's no pending cases. A report from the ROC. ROC is nothing but Register of Companies regarding compliance with the provision of Companies Act. In case of winding up of office in India. So basically, you will also have to get a report from the ROC. Now, all this is required to be submitted to the RBI when you're taking back the money. Any doubts? One second. So now, acquisition or transfer of immovable property in India. Okay, this is by an NRI or an OCI. Now, who is an OCI? Who's an OCI?
Overseas citizen of India.
Overseas citizen of India. Now, an NRI, okay, NRI we have done. An OCI is a person resident outside India who is registered as an overseas citizen of India, card holder under the 7A of the Citizenship Act. Now, this person, a person resident outside India, can hold, transfer, invest in any immovable property situated in India if such property was acquired, held, owned by him when he or she was a resident in India or inherited from a person resident in India. So basically, if you've got a property in India, you can hold it, you can transfer it, you can invest it in India. Now, how can an NRI or an OCI hold property in India? One second. 1 minute. Okay. So an NRI and OCI make payment or transfer of immovable property out of the funds received in India through banking channels by way of inward remittance from any place outside India by debit to their NRE NRO account. So as I said, what is an NRE and NRO account? So any payment there, they can make it for the any property situated in India. One second.
Ma'am, what is the expansion of NRE and NRO account, ma'am?
I'll tell you. One second. NRE, non-resident external account. Yes. And who can tell NRO? NRO is non-resident ordinary.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Okay, so one second. I wanted to. Okay. Now, excuse me. Yes. Sorry, this is just for your information. This bit of it is not there in the old syllabus textbook. Which one? So you know. Which one? This slide, this particular. Okay, the acquisition or transfer of immovable property in India. Yes. Yes. Oh. So again, now how can an NRE or an NRO, NRI or an OCI hold property in India? You all have any idea? How can we have seen the previous slides. So can you all tell me a few points on how, if I'm an NRI, how can I hold property in India?
It can either be inherited or it can be purchased through the NRE account.
Okay. Any other way that a person can hold property? If he had acquired it when he was a resident in India. Correct. By way of gift. He could have also got it as by a way of gift. And then inherit from a person. Okay. Yeah, I think those are the points how an NRI can hold a property in India. Now, acquisition of immovable property by foreign embassies, diplomats, and consulate, is that possible? Can a foreign embassy, diplomat, or a consulate general hold immovable property in India? I think so, yes, because it's considered their consulate is considered their place, right? So they have their own set of laws, or like they have their own set of rules in there. Yes, correct. So they need to get clearance from the government of India and the Ministry of External Affairs. So if they get permission from them, they can purchase or sell any immovable property in India. Now, the money should also come through proper banking channels. That's when they will be able to purchase land in, say they can purchase or sell land property in India. Now, can an acquisition of immovable property by person resident outside India for carrying on permitted activity? Now, a person who is living outside India, can they purchase can they purchase immovable property to conduct business? Is that possible? Would that be possible? Now, if I'm a foreign national, if I'm a US citizen and I want to open a branch office in India, can I do it? Can I open it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, that is possible. I will have to file with the RBI a declaration and form IPI not later than 90 days from the time I have acquired in immovable property. Any doubts so far? Yes, no?
Hi, ma'am. Just regarding the last point.
Yes.
So you said so he needs to make a declaration to RBI within 90 days. So prior declaration is not necessary, is what you're saying.
Yes, that's not required. From the date of such acquisition of a movable property, you will have to file this IPI form.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so next is who is an authorized person? We saw it in the first class. An authorized dealer, money exchanger, offshore banking unit, or any other person for the time being authorized to deal in foreign exchange or foreign security is called an authorized person. Now, RBI is got authority to issue directions to the authorized persons. Now, mainly it is nationalized banks, leading non-nationalized banks and foreign banks are appointed as authorized persons. Now, authorized persons are also required to comply with the directions given by the RBI. So, if they do not follow the RBI directions, RBI has a right to revoke them. Okay. An authorized person, before undertaking any transaction on behalf of any person, shall require that person to make such declaration and give such information as reasonably satisfy the authorized person that the transaction will not involve or is not intended to violate and contravene any provisions of the Act, rules, notifications, and direction. So basically, before you enter into any transaction with the authorized person that's taking money abroad or bringing money in India, you will have to sign an undertaking saying that this transaction is not violating any of the acts, rules, or regulations. It does not violate anything. They give a written declaration along with n number of, say, if you have 10 documentations which is necessary, out of that one will be a declaration saying that whatever money we are bringing in and taking out is not intended for violating any of the acts. That's about it. Now, last class someone asked me if we are covering where will we be covering RBI, right? So I just happened to find 2 pages about RBI. So the old syllabus had one whole chapter of RBI, and for the new syllabus, it's being condensed to 2 pages. So RBI, as you all know, is the main. It's called Bankers of Bank, and it's a main bank that issues currency notes, all your FEMA related, FDI related, all of that. RBI is responsible. Now, what are the functions? What is the function of RBI? Is regulate and issue bank notes, keeping of reserves with a view to securing monetary stability in India. So basically, their responsibility is to stabilize monetary money coming in and going out. So if there's a shortage, anything, they print notes, they print coins, all of that. Only rights is there with RBI. Again, they also have their function is to monetize monetary policy framework to meet the challenge of increasing complex economy, to maintain price stability while keeping in mind the objective of growth. So now all that is the responsibility and the function of RBI. Now, the RBI's affairs are governed by the Central Board of Directors. So they have, like how a company has got a board of directors and RBI has got a Central Board of Directors. Now, the board is appointed by the Government of India. So, who appoints the board of directors? The Government of India. Now, they are appointed for a period of 4 years. The constitution of the Central Board of Directors are as under: official directors, full-time governor, and not more than 4 deputy governors. Non-official directors nominated by the government, 10 directors from various fields, 2 are from the government officials. Others, 4 directors, 1 each from the local boards. Now, local boards are nothing but you have 4 main. You have so your north, south, east, west, 4 boards. You have 4 boards there. You have 1 each from each board. Now, the list of how this particular picture is there in your textbook. It's just in a different format. This is the old thing format. So you have the Central Board of Directors, you have the governor, you have a deputy governor, executive directors, principal, chief manager, general, chief general manager, deputy general manager, assistant general manager, managers, assistant managers, and support staff. Now, this is the hierarchy of the RBI. So, say in future you want to join RBI, you can join any of the hierarchy. So, they've given you a complete list of hierarchies. Now, what is the main function of RBI? Is 1 second. One second. Okay, the main functions of RBI is monetary authority. Now, what is monetary authority? If they say the main function is monetary authority, what do you think they do under monetary authority?
They regulate or control the monetary policies like your interest rates and stuff like that.
Yes, yes. Any other point from anybody else? Okay, they also try to maintain the price stability while keeping in mind with the object of the growth of the economy. Now, what is regulator and supervisor of the financial services? What do they do? Anybody?
The RBI issues a set of rules and regulations to other banks that need to be followed.
Yes, yes. So basically, they keep all other banks in check, as in they have certain regulations, rules for the other banks like your SBI, your Canara Bank, your HDFC. All that they kind of have. They have a supervisory. They have a supervisory role, and they kind of check that everything is the public's money is kept secure. There's the loans, the debts of whatever banks, the loans that the banks take, they usually take it from the RBI. So all that they kind of supervise, and they make sure the banking operations are conducted in a fair manner. Now, what is a manager of foreign exchange? When they say manager of foreign exchange, what do you all think they do? What does RBI do in terms of foreign exchange?
They sort of regulate the foreign exchange that comes into and goes out of the country.
Yes, yes. What else?
Maintain the exchange rates.
Maintain the exchange rates. Yes. Foreign exchange market. Yes. Trying to regulate and keep it in check.
Regulate the money or vulnerability of market and how much money is coming to our country and how much is going.
Yes, yes. So that's what they do as a manager of foreign exchange. Now, issuer of currency. What do you mean by issuer of currency?
They print money. Coins, notes, and they issue it.
Yes. So they print coins and notes, and do they have the right to destroy it?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Who has the right to destroy notes? Who else has the right to destroy notes?
If it is regulated by the government, then the RBI can take actions towards destroying the notes. How during the denomination.
Okay, only RBI has got the right to destroy notes. No one else has got. So I'm not sure you'll know where RBI is in Bangalore.
Yes.
It is Patunga Road.
Correct. So if you go quite early in the morning, say around 9 o'clock before working hours, I'm not sure if you all have noticed a line that comes outside the gate, and it's a pretty long line. Do you all have any idea why they stand there? So there are many people waiting to enter once the office is open. Any idea why? Anybody? It is to
Exchange old notes.
Yes. Yes. So to exchange old notes, old torn notes, which say your bank kind of doesn't allow and they reject. So they stand in front of the RBI so that once the office is open, they kind of go and they return the torn notes to them. So that's why, I mean, say if you go near RBI, you can see a line every day, and it's a pretty big line. So they have the right to exchange, destroy, issue notes. And next is developmental role. Now, what do you think under developmental role?
Ma'am, one doubt in exchange of notes. You said that old notes are exchanged when RBI.
Yes.
Old notes means before independence or after independence old notes?
No, old notes. This is mainly of now your before independence are now they've become they've become like how you collect stamps. So many of them collect notes as well. So all that will not be. This is mainly tone notes. The current running tone notes, like your 500 note is tone. Then if you go and stand, they will help you out because sometimes some banks don't allow it. Say if I take a 500 rupee note to Canara Bank, they will not accept sometimes, and they will say no, we will not take it. So that time you will have to go to RBI. Say it's a 10 rupee note, it's a 20 rupee note. So if you go stand there, they'll exchange it for you.
Okay.
So it's a current note. So now if you go and stand with the before we had the 1,000 rupee notes, right? 1,000 rupee notes. Yeah, before we had 1,000 rupee notes. So if you go and stand with the 1,000 rupee notes, they will not accept it. So it's the current running notes. If it's torn, destroyed, that's when you can go and exchange it with RBI. Now, developmental role. What do you think is the function under developmental role? What does RBI, what do they do when we say developmental role? What do they develop?
Foreign currency, foreign exchange rate.
Developmental is much more on policies, not the foreign exchange. That will come under manager of foreign exchange.
The Skill Up India, Stand Up India, and all those.
Yes. So this is more of what they can do to support the national objectives of the country, how a country's economy should grow. All of that will come under the developmental role. Now, regulator and supervisor of payment and settlement systems. What comes under that?
All your typical modes of payment, like your card, cash, or your UPI, or your online payments, they keep updating rules time to time, stating you have to give consent or you have to update this data or KYC and all that.
KYC. Yes. That's correct. That's one point of it. Again, if how we use, as Nikita said, how we use it, how we use your GPay, what information has to be given, what passwords, how many passwords protected, your KYCs, all of that, they kind of regulate it. And they make sure that, the public at large kind of benefits and feels secure. If you're making payment on Google Pay or something, Google cannot just come out randomly and say I'm making a payment. You can use my Google Pay and do it. They need to take permissions from RBI. They need to have particular process in place. So RBI is a regulator and a supervisor of such payment systems. Now you have WhatsApp also, which has come out with payments. So WhatsApp would have taken a very long time to get approvals from RBI and then make this particular WhatsApp payment friendly. So now you have some related functions. Banker to the government. Now, banker to the government is nothing but you've heard RBI is a banker's bank. So you've heard, okay. First, let us finish the banker to the government. So now, if the government needs any loan, any money, they will go to the RBI. Now, again, this is central government and the state governments. If they need any money, any loan, they will go to the RBI. RBI is a bank to the governments, central and the state government. Now you heard RBI is saying they are called bankers to banks also. Now what happens is if the bankers needs SBI needs a loan or HDFC needs a loan or a Canara Bank needs a loan, they go to RBI for money. And RBI also maintains all the banking accounts for all the banks. So, and they have certain, documentation, certain requirements that they have to submit from time to time. Say how many people have taken loans, how many who are defaulters. All those updates are given by each bank to RBI. Any doubt?
What
Yes.
kind of collateral do these banks taking loans from RBI give them? Give the
So
RBI?
they would give like how if we take any loan. So you have so many people having FDs. You have so many banks themselves have got fixed assets in their books of accounts. For them, the main revenue is the fixed assets that is the FDs that you as a customer keep it. You keep FDs in banks, right? You take loans. You have your collateral. So all those documentations also pass on to RBI as well. And then, I mean, at least a list of these many people have kept FDs. So these are the document papers of all the properties that they have received. Say so even when you take a housing loan, your house property is sitting with the bank until you repay it. So all that is right now is if I'm taking a loan from HDFC, is HDFC's property. The HDFC tells RBI, see, these are the number of people have kept FDs with me. These are the list of assets that I have. HDFC themselves will have certain, fixed assets like offices, office buildings. All of that will be collateral, everything, and it's mainly set of rules and regulations that they have to follow. They have to keep submitting forms. They have to keep updating from time to time. These are the defaulters. These are people who have exceeded. They have not paid their EMIs. All those minute details goes to RBI on a regular basis.
Okay. So, ma'am, what about collateral perspective for the government? Will it be like these provident funds or like NPF? How is it going to be?
I didn't get your question.
Just like Mani ma'am asked, so banker to the bank. So if they're taking a loan, it's going to be something collateral, right? You said all these funds. So what about when government wants a loan from the RBI? So how will that work? Will it be like the pension funds or the provident funds?
No. Pension funds, provident, they are all held by the central government. So your PF is with the central government. It is not with the state government.
Okay.
So your PF is it's all held by central. So all those will not be kept as for the governments, I don't think there will be any collateral because it's like a country as a large, a state government. So they would just default it. Nothing as a collateral as such.
Okay.
If a bank doesn't follow the set of rules that is regarded by the RBI, then can RBI cancel its
Yes. Have you heard a lot of cooperative societies issues that have come up? I mean, I think in the recent past there are a lot of cooperative society banks.
Yes, ma'am.
A lot of them. So, and then even in the news for some time, I think there were a couple of good current running banks also that they might close down. All of those issues had come up, but yeah. So RBI has a right. So even cooperative societies also, RBI makes rules and regulations for them, and so what happens when they go low on? So what happens if a cooperative society like is closing down? They come up and they say you can withdraw only 20,000 per month from now onwards and all that. So all that is regulated by the RBI. And plus, on every board of every bank, there will be a representative of RBI also on their board. So they kind of overlook at the working conditions of the cooperative society, all of that. And even when all these scam happens, all that, RBI plays a major role.
Ma'am, what about when banks merge? Like how Syndicate and Canara Bank merged together?
Okay, so have you in Companies Act? I'm not sure. Have you heard about mergers and acquisitions in Companies Act?
No.
Okay. So basically, you have a concept of something called mergers and acquisitions. Now, mergers and acquisitions, if it's into corporates, you have the Companies Act that plays a major role. Now, for a bank also, you have Companies Act. They are a company as well. So you have a Companies Act playing a major role. Plus, you have the RBI also, which gives you permissions. Now, when it's a regular corporate, when two companies merge, you need to take permissions from a lot of people. So you need to take permission. If it's a listed company, you need to take permission from SEBI. You need to take permission from the income tax department. You need to take a permission from ROC. You need to take permission from the NCLT. I mean, the whole process is governed by an NCLT. That's a different issue. But you need to take permission from, if you've got LIC accounts, you need to take permission from LIC. If you have PF gratuity, you need to take permission from those funds also. There's a lot. The checklist of a merger and acquisition can go in pages, and it's an activity of, say, minimum 1 year to a maximum of 3-4 years. So for a bank, RBI will play a major role in case if it's a merger. Now, the recent merger was the HDFC with their subsidiaries, like the HDFC loan banks and all that. No, so all of that has merged into the main HDFC. You're aware of that? That's
Yes,
the recent. That's the recent thing. Now, all of that, this merger wouldn't have happened overnight. So it would have happened years. So many years it would have taken for them to take approvals from RBI, from ROC, from SEBI, because HDFC is a listed company, from SEBI. They take permission from everybody, and RBI will see all aspects on how many losses, how many gains are being transferred, how many if any defaults, any income tax related issues, all of that they check, and that's when the merger is approved. Now, even SBI with their SBI, before it was State Bank of Mysore, State Bank of Travancore, all of that merged into State Bank of India. Even that took years. That took years for it to merge because they weren't getting approvals in the beginning. So until everything is set, RBI will not give you an approval to merge. It's a very long process.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
And in fact, I had some time back gone for an interview for ING Vaishya when ING Vaishya was there before the merger. I think with Kotak Bank. Yeah. So when I had gone for the interview, and then they had told me that you will you will have to only read the RBI Act, the the FDI related rules, regulations, the NBFCs. For 1 year, the job description was only reading all these acts. Only after 1 year, that's when they're going to give you the actual job. And I was like, it's so getting a CS role or a CS department role in a bank, in any bank, is very difficult until you know the basics of how a banking, their regulations, their acts, what is applicable to that company, all of that. It's very difficult to actually work in a bank for a CS field. Okay, we are done with the first chapter.